All right, so we're here with Dwight. Dwight, it's good again to reconnect. The last time we would have seen you in the Caribbean in Trinidad was for the Legends match with Kaka, with your good mate Russell. But tell us what you've been up to. We've been following your exploits. We've been seeing you commenting a lot about, the football and the Euros, etc. What are your thoughts on how, England got to the final but just couldn't get over that final hurdle?
Yeah, I think the best team obviously won the Euros. They are the unbeaten champions. I think it's the first time it's ever been achieved where they won all 7 games, and I think they're clearly a little bit above England. I think a lot of people will say that England got the right side of the draw and got through to the final. But at the end of the day, I do believe that the Euros was won by the best team, and certainly England will look at themselves and think, under Gareth Southgate, who's somebody that I know personally, have just come up short, even though he's got to two finals and a semi-final. And I think in those circumstances, you tend to try and win one of those, and he hasn't been able to do that. And I think when you look back, as much as it will be a successful 8 years for England in terms of putting them back to a certain level, they still haven't been able to win a major competition, even since 1966. So 58 years ago. I think that will continue to haunt them for a little while. But certainly, from a football perspective, I do believe Spain was head and shoulder above these teams in terms of the consistency, the way how they play, and certainly the way how they end up winning the competition. I think they were well deserved, and so I don't think anyone would be complaining that the best team have won the competition.
Let's shift to our part of the world now, at least where I am. I just returned from the Copa America final on Sunday. What a final it turned out to be. Again, Messi and Argentina, proving to be real champions, true champions of this region. But what is your take on how things went? Obviously, we saw CONCACAF, the likes of USA and Mexico not getting, really far in the tournament, but Canada was able to get to a semi-final. Generally, yeah, I'm sure you would have kept tabs on how things went there. What are your thoughts on how it went?
Again, another fantastic tournament, and there seems to be so much football, and the football continue to grow, and we think there is so much football already in the world. But another fantastic Copa America. Obviously, Argentina, on the back of the World Cup, they managed to go on and win this tournament again, and quite well deserved. Maybe not as convincing, certainly, as the Spanish, but they managed to get the job. And that's what, when you get into a winning mentality, sometimes you don't have to win pretty. And certainly, Argentina has been able to do that. I think the additional to the CONCACAF region in terms of Canada and Mexico, certainly Jamaica as well, given that opportunity to gain that experience, will take them a long way going forward. And it's a good additional addition to the Copa America to invite these teams in, so that again they gain that valuable experience, certainly, and prepare for the World Cup.
It's interesting that you mentioned Jamaica there, and also the progress of the other teams in CONCACAF. You have a history in CONCACAF. You've played in CONCACAF Gold Cups. You've led Trinidad and Tobago to a World Cup. And we got some news back home last night, which raised quite a few eyebrows, and it's making people talk a bit and think a bit about, what the possibilities are. Tell us about that. The interest in the top job at the Jamaica Football Federation, the Reggae Boys, and the fact that you're on a short list for a potential spot there.
Well, I think it's been well documented that I'm obviously a qualified manager, and I've been in managerial position now. So obviously, being out of a job, you are always seeking employment, and you're looking for an opportunity to get back into the game. And so being the individual that I am, and certainly when you look around the Caribbean, is there any job available? There wasn't any job available, so I couldn't even apply then. And of course, with the Jamaican job came available, I think that I'm within my rights to obviously apply for the job. I think it's a tremendous honor and a privilege to manage Jamaica. When you look at the increase in terms of the players that they have at at their service, I do believe it's a fantastic job to apply. And I'm like any other manager out there seeking an opportunity to get back in. And I feel the Jamaican job is one that most managers would like to get involved in. And I certainly, coming from the West Indies, I've always wanted to give back to West Indian football. And I'm sure a lot of people will think, well, give back to Trinidad. It doesn't necessarily mean just Trinidad and Tobago alone, but certainly the Jamaica job is available. And so I have applied for the job like anything else. And so there's been a real good positive response. And hopefully, as they continue to assess the candidates for the job, then hopefully I will be one of those managers.
You mentioned something there in terms of your experience, your networking, and the fact that you're out there. You look at the Jamaica squad and you see that the majority of their players, especially their top players, are based in the UK, based in Europe. And obviously you would have a background in terms of being able to deal with this level of players, the likes of even a Leon Bailey, who was out of the squad in the Copa America, but clearly people believe that he should be back in the squad, especially as they push towards a World Cup qualification. How does this play in terms of the dynamics, in terms of where you could come in and try to obviously lead a Jamaica squad to a World Cup with the caliber of players that they have in their setup?
Well, I think when you look closely and when you do your due diligent work in terms of the squad, which I have managed to send in my CV and with a template of the development and the squad that is available to this Jamaican selections for the players. And so it is in line, and it reminds me a little bit like Trinidad and Tobago when we had all these players, certainly from the UK base or playing in some part of Europe. It reminds me, and the experience of the know-how and having being the captain in as you know in terms of Trinidad qualifying, you have the experience within that, and so there's a lot of similarity, in my opinion, that revolves around the Jamaican job. And I think that with my experience, the know-how as a player, certainly as a captain, the experience now that I've gained in as a manager, I feel that there is a lot of things in line with the Jamaican job that I can see a lot of similarity there. So with that said and done, I know that there will be one and two doubters, which you expect in position of a top job like Jamaica. There's always going to be a bit of a question mark. But my answer to that is that I feel like I'm fully qualified. I'm excited by given an opportunity to manage a West Indian team, and certainly with my knowledge of English football. And as you mentioned, the majority of those players are playing at some quality level in England, even at the top tier in English football. I have an understanding and I know how to integrate those players. And certainly I feel with the experience and being at 52 years of age, I've been around. I understand the game. I've been football is in the DNA, and I feel I can bring the sort of level of expectancy, the type of football, the brand of football that relates to the Jamaican national team with the players at my disposal. And I feel very confident in my ability to manage such a tremendous country like Jamaica.
Those are obviously key factors that you mentioned there, Dwight. But another thing that we could take note of is the fact that in the early parts of your career and also the latter part of your career, you had so much experience within the CONCACAF region. You know what it takes to go into Central America and get results in the likes of Guatemala, Honduras, or Panama. You also did it as a coach as well, because at the back end of your career, you would have served as an assistant coach during a World Cup campaign, qualifying campaign for 2010. So you know what it takes, the dynamics of qualifying out of a CONCACAF region. And this is not something very easy for a coach to come into. We all know that in CONCACAF, it's very different to other parts of the world. And I think this is where, obviously, it could suit you also.
Yeah, listen, as I said, it doesn't take a rocket science to really work out those kind of logistics that you mentioned. If you're looking for a player with knowledge and know-how, who's been there, done it, brought the T-shirt, and certainly I've done it. And so that aspect of it, I don't think there is an issue. I think the convincing part is maybe to a lot of people out there, a lot of people tend to use that line of, the inexperience of being a manager. That might be an issue. But, let me just remind people what I've been through, not just as a player, but then certainly as a manager, to go into Makata FC and managing, the All-Star team against Barcelona in front of 75,000 people. So I'm used to that. And then you look how football now, and a lot of people think that, you need a huge amount of experience to manage at this level. Not really. And I think you just have to look closely. Spain recently, in terms of the manager there, Luis del Fuentes, who's obviously just won that. He was only Spain under-21 national coach. And here, with very limited experience, he's managed to win the Euros. And certainly, let me just take your mind back. And this is how, even the likes of Liano Scolini, who is obviously the manager of Argentina, he went in there with very little expectation, very little experience, and managed to win the World Cup. So we've seen these managers with vast experience who sometimes fail, and not necessarily always have to be vast experience. The thing is, I'm a football man through and through. I've known the game. All the things that you have mentioned, I've been there, I've done it as a player, and I've certainly shown my qualities. Given the chance into management, I've managed to win a major competition in Australia. So I've gained that valuable experience. I've gone away and studied the game, and also, work alongside the likes of Arsene Wenger, Steve McLaren, Jurgen Klinsmann, as technical director for the Asia Cup. Work in those environments, speak to the likes of Pep. So, I've been sort of learning the trade behind the scene without people knowing the kind of things that I've been through to get to this level. And that's why I feel very strongly. I feel that I'm fully qualified to manage a country like Jamaica. And like I said, it would be an absolutely privilege to do that. And the expectation of qualifying is something that I'm used to. I've been in those high valuable situation where it's expected. And I feel that with the experience of being at 52, I can cope with that. And certainly, more importantly, get the players to buy in to the idea of the way how we play, the way how we retain, whether it's high press or, position-based or counter-attacking. These are simple things I can go into a little bit more details if and when, if I'm selected to be Jamaican national coach. But I feel like I've done my apprenticeship and I'm ready for an opportunity. And also, just to mention, Sean, that nobody in the Caribbean with the pedigree that I have, certainly what I've done in the game, and certainly the level of qualifications that I've got, been able to sort of go for a position like Jamaica, even my home country like Trinidad and Tobago, because the opportunity was never there. And so with the Jamaican job that is available, I feel that I'm more than capable and qualified to lead Jamaica to the next World Cup.
Definitely, Dwight. And these are obviously interesting times, and I'm quite sure there will be a lot of us rooting for you to see where this could possibly lead to. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure some of the Trinidad and Tobago faithful will be looking on and saying, "Oh, Dwight now our most celebrated footballer leading Jamaica, possibly against Trinidad and Tobago." So, how do you feel about that?
Listen, as I said, I think I can understand that there's a bit of concern by that, but the reality, the Trinidad and Tobago job is not available. Angus Eve is in that position, and it's not again, it's not something that I wished upon, but it's just simply not there. And Angus has done a great job, and they feel that Angus is the right person to then take Trinidad and Tobago to the World Cup. Then I wish him all the best. But then there is an opportunity to become Jamaican manager. I know the history between the two countries, but that's irrelevant. I'm there. I'm a professional manager. I'm there to do a professional job. I understand what it takes to then engage with the players, to be transparent, to lead them in the right way. I think me at certain level, the discipline that I bring and the work ethic that I bring to the team, and certainly my football knowledge, which is, as we say, everyone wants to play attacking football, but you also have to have the players to understand, to buy into your ideas. And I feel like with the qualification that I have and the experience, certainly as a manager now, that I'm ready to fulfill that opportunity to manage Jamaica. But going back, I know I went up a little bit, but going back to Trinidad and Tobago, it's simple, not there. The job is not available because Angus Eve is in that position. And I respect that, and I would never try to overlook that. And on top of that, Sean, Trinidad and Tobago FA has never been in touch. They never asked me to even consider being Trinidad and Tobago. So that conversation really doesn't exist.
Yeah, totally got you there. All right, so give us an idea what you're up to next. Obviously, you're going to be keeping your eyes and ears open to see how the Jamaica Football Federation, how they go about their business over the next few days, because we expect that pretty soon they will make that announcement, because we have Nations League in September, which Trinidad and Tobago is also preparing for. What are you up to in the next few days, next few weeks?
Well, the league is going to start. So obviously I work here in this part of the world on TV, and certainly with the football, obviously just taking a break. I will be reassessing myself and preparing myself in terms of getting back into trying to get back on the grass, get involved with some coaching here in Dubai, just to keep my eye in, and then certainly wait for the Premier League to start up again to get back involved. But yeah, I mean, my sole aim right now is to at least try to get an interview with the Jamaican FA. There obviously are the candidates for the job. I think from what I gather, there is 40 applicants, so they have to do their due diligence in terms of the quality of the managers that are available and wanting the position to be head coach. So I will have to wait and see if I'm one of the shortlisted. They have received my CV. There's no secret about that. They also receive a template in specific details about the outlines of the players and the way and the formation that I would like to play if given that opportunity. So just to give you an idea, that's how far advanced that I've gotten to with the Jamaican FA. And it's a matter of whether they see me as one of the candidates that require interview and in terms of getting that opportunity to manage Jamaican national team. So I will wait with calm and collectiveness of whether I'm one of the shortlisted managers to get the job.
We as well will be waiting patiently and with some level of excitement to see how this goes. Dwight, always a pleasure speaking to you. We want to wish you the best. Obviously, we'll continue to follow your exploits and see where it goes in the next few weeks. Good.
Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it.